institutions and the applicants. And initially, I've been in the similar professional journey as well. So assisting students for their accommodation requirements, then moving towards their loan requirements for their education. It has been always be a good journey, and satisfaction levels are very high when you are able to support the students and able to guide them how they can meet their education requirements, right? So it's been a fantastic start, and 2024 definitely is going to be a bigger year for us. And I hope that all your dreams and your education requirements get fulfilled in this 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Suryaveer. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to closing this poll and I will read the results. All right. So we have 35 people going to study in the US, and we have 37 studying in Canada, and another 30% interest in both. And we have more than half of you are still thinking about studying. Hope like after this session you will have your answer. And we also have 30% have already applied, so fingers crossed. Hope you will get your offer soon. We have 7% have already been accepted to study. Congratulations. And we also have 4% that you are already enrolled. We basically have everyone here today. And yes, today you are going to learn definitely MPOWER's loan product details. And we will also share why our loan is better than other options. All right, now is the last fun questions. It's my favorite. Coffee or tea? I want to know you, Ron. Coffee or tea? What do you choose?
So usually I don't drink either, but if I had to drink something, it'll probably be iced coffee.
Iced coffee. I actually like the options. It's not only coffee and tea. They also give us hot coffee or iced coffee. This is awesome. How about you, Suyavir?
I'm 24/7 tea person. Coffee is not an enemy, so I enjoy that as well. But tea is my favorite cup, like the drink to start the day.
All right. I will choose coffee because it's a must. But recently I have been really enjoying my tea too. So I think both for me. All right. Thank you, everyone. And let's start this webinar. So today, this webinar will be divided into two segments. The first half will feature a discussion with our guests, Suyavir and Ron here, to get to know more about MPOWER's offering and learn how to submit a loan application. And the second half will be a free Q&A session with all of you. Throughout this webinar, whenever you have questions, please type your questions using the Q&A function located at the bottom of your Zoom window. We will address some questions live, and also our MPOWER team are here in the chat to answer all your questions. First of all, let me give you a brief introduction about MPOWER. For those of you who are not familiar with MPOWER, what we do is that we want to empower international students to fund your overseas education independently. And with this mission in mind, the product we're offering is very different from the traditional banks and many other lenders. What we offer to you is a student loan of up to, sorry, my throat. What we offer to you is a student loan of up to 100,000 US dollars to each of you without cosigner or collateral. Means that you can do this independently, all on your own. And we can do this because we use an innovative method to review and approve your loan application. And we, instead of focusing on your past financial history or your family's financial situations, we also do a comprehensive evaluation of your future earning potential based on your academic performance to approve your applications. For example, we will look at your GPA, the field you study, and maybe your English test score if you have them. And I want to introduce three features of MPOWER that I'm very proud of. I will have my coworker share the screen. All right, next slide, please. Yes, so here are the three features that I think makes MPOWER different from other lenders. And the first one is no cosigner or collateral required. This allows you to apply independently without involving your family. We can do this because of our unique credit model evaluates your academic performance to estimate your future earning potential. And this is a very different approach than the traditional banks and other lenders. And the second feature is that we offer fixed interest rate. And we are actually the only company in the world right now that provides fixed interest rate to international students without a cosigner. Fixed interest rate means your rate remains the same throughout the whole long term. Even if the global interest rate increase, your rate will not increase. So this makes your financial planning easier because your payments every month will not change. The third feature is that we offer an educational loan in US dollar, which means that we disperse your loan in USD directly to your school. With an MPOWER loan, you do not need to risk arriving overseas with less US dollar or Canadian dollar than you thought you are. All right, we can end share now. Thank you, Ukarsh. So our product sounds really amazing, right? And luckily that I'm not the only one that is proud of our product. We also have our guests here to share their experience with MPOWER. First, I will give the stage to Ron. Ron, could you please take a few minutes to show us using a student's example, like what's their journey looks like? What's the timeline if they use MPOWER?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to take you through an example, and this person has two choices, either to stay in their home country or go to the US. And to kind of illustrate this example a little bit more, I'm going to be sharing my screen. So, yep. So in this example, the person before they start school is going to be 2022, and then you graduate in 2025. So this person, so like let's assume the year is 2022 currently. This person, Asha, is currently working in as an analyst, as a junior data analyst in Bangalore, and she's making around $7,000 a year. But she wants to take her career to the next level, and she has a choice. She can do this in one of two ways. Either she can just continue working for the company she's currently working at and kind of take that path and like just grow within her own organization, or the other option that she has is to go to the US or move to a different country. Doesn't have to be the US, can be US, Canada, somewhere else. And she's basically trying to improve her future prospects as well. So let's try to work out what would happen in both these scenarios. So first thing is she's working currently in Bangalore. She looks around, she gets an admission to a master's program. In this current example, she got admission to the Illinois Institute of Technology, no master's in computer science. And so obviously everyone knows the program in computer science is going to be a little bit expensive. So the cost of this entire program is around, say, $60,000, including tuition, living expenses, everything. So currently she has around $15,000 in savings and scholarships, and she takes a $40,000 loan to kind of complete her education. And that $40,000 loan, let's in this example, let's assume she takes it from MPOWER. So for 2 years, she goes through the loan, she completes her program, she graduates, and then in 2025, she receives her work authorization to work in the US, and she's hired as a computer systems engineer in 2025. And in 2025, her salary goes up to 97,000 because she has a master's degree and she's in a different country. So let's take the other approach. If she's probably just remained in school, sorry, not remained in school, if she continued with her job in Bangalore, from 7,000 her salary may have gone up in 2 years to probably around $15,000. And so let's say that's a 2x return. So in 3 years, she's increasing her salary by 2x to 15,000. But now that she went to school, she graduates and her job currently is at 97,000. That's almost a 10x increase on her salary there. But to get that 10x increase, she had to take a loan of $40,000. But when you actually think about it in the long run, that $40,000 she's going to be able to pay off within 1.5 year, looking at her current salary. Even if she takes 5 years to pay it off, it's not going to cost too much of a difference. But in the other scenario where she was making only 7,000 in 2025, she'll be making 15,000. Even though she did not take the loan, she did not take any of those additional risks or any additional investments, she would still be earning only 15,000 compared to her salary of 97,000 now. So this is like an example which clearly illustrates the advantage of going for a higher education in a different country specifically. And that's not the only skills that she gains. She also gains like other skills like living alone in a new country, getting to know a lot of new experiences, things like that. So if you look at it on a whole way, the return on investment for education is always going to be pretty high. And even though the opportunity cost may be a little bit high initially, but it kind of pays off in the long run once you complete your degree and graduate and everything. So
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
thank you, Ron. So if people want to follow Asha's path, when should they start and what deadlines should they know about?
Yeah, so in this current example, I'm going to take you through the next slide as well. So ideally, people like Asha usually start applying for school from October to December. And that's when she applies for school. She decides what program she wants to do. Maybe she applies for computer science, network engineering, a couple of other programs. Usually people receive their admission offer in usually Jan to April timeframe. Some schools give it early in January, some take a little bit longer in April. And she gets an admission letter. As soon as she gets an admission letter, she kind of starts applying for loans because she kind of needs to figure out her funding. Usually the timeline is from Feb to May. A lot of companies take much longer. Empower is pretty quick with this. We try to give out decisions between 5 to 7 business days. Her loan gets approved through Empower, and she gets a support letter to get her I-20 and visa appointments as well. This will help her actually move to the country. May to July, this is when most students are in the visa kind of time frame. At this point, it's hard to find appointments at consulates because a lot of people are doing the same thing. So you get your I-20, you go for a visa appointment, and then once you get your visa, your classes usually start from August to September, depending again on which school, which country. Some of them start beginning of August. I know Canada specifically starts beginning or middle of September, so that kind of varies. And then so she flies to the US or Canada to start her master's program. The important thing here is Empower. She doesn't have to worry about her loan. She doesn't have to worry about taking funds from India there. I know if you take a lot of Indian lenders, you have they just transfer the funds to your Indian bank account, and then it's up to you to transfer it to the US, and that can become a very cumbersome process. But the Empower process is pretty straightforward. Once your loan is approved, there's no other paperwork or anything required from you. The funds are directly disbursed to the school, and if you need funds for your living expenses or anything of that sort, the school will kind of send you the additional funds after they cut your tuition fees. They'll disperse it directly to your US bank account. So it makes the process much smoother and much simpler.
All right. Thank you, Ron. So now Ron has take us through the whole student journey. And if you want to start your journey with Empower, first you need to submit an application. So Surveyor, could you please take us on a journey for the application?
Absolutely, Silver, and thank you so much, Ron, for giving the brief description about how the life cycle journey of an applicant goes through and what are the important timelines they need to be aware about. So let's make our applicants' lives slightly easier now in terms of how to submit an application and what you needs to be prepared about before you start submitting or filling out your application details. So before taking any other time, I'll simply share the screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Great. So So the screen that you are able to see right now, everyone, here is about a basic understanding about how the application starts and how it gets completed. Though we would be deep diving and we would be trying to explain you what are the detailed steps of each sections, but just a holistic view here in terms of once you submit or check your eligibility, what happens next. So Empower would be definitely asking you about your basic information, which would be then leading to your school that you are applying for, and if you have any employment informations of past. Your financial information is one of the very crucial section that we would be discussing in detail. Then the last step is ID verification, and the application journey finishes. Now I know that it's completed very in just 4 to 5 seconds, but that's not all. Let's go to the step one. So as soon as you enter to Empower eligibility criteria, you would need to select what are your plans right now. So are you already been enrolled? Are you thinking about studying? Are you existing student? Or you have applied but you have not received the admission? So it can be any circumstances or situation. So as soon as you start your eligibility requirement or the check, this would be the first ask from Empower, because we would like to understand what status you are currently. So for example, if you have applied for multiple universities but you have not received a single admission from any universities yet, so you can select the second option, meaning that I have applied to school but haven't been accepted. But let's just say if you are fortunate enough to receive the admission letter well in advance, and now you have the details available regarding the major and the start date of the program in that admission letter, you should select I have been accepted at a school but haven't enrolled. But there are many existing students who are already in US and they are also seeking for education loan. So the fifth option here is going to be the one that you need to select, which is I am currently enrolled at a school. But let's just say if you are a transfer student, so we do get a lot of application where the applicants have completed half of their program in their home country, and they are now planning to transfer the remaining part of their program in US or Canada. Or it can be that you are in already US and you're trying to transfer one university to another school right now. So the fifth option here would be the best one, because it means that you are currently enrolled at a school and now you are transferring to one of our eligible schools. So once you have selected this option, the next step is to mention the program that you are planning to do ahead. This is one of the very important information, because we would like to understand, are you a bachelor student, or you are a master student, or you are a doctorate student? Depending on the master major or major minor you are trying to do, you have to select the program here. Now at the left side, you would be able to see that what is your expected graduation date. Now, what we mean by that is that we are not trying to ask you the exact date when you would be graduating. We are just trying to understand what is the duration of your program, when you are expected to complete your the entire program that you would be starting. So if you are aware about the timeline of your program, when it would be completing, please select that. If you are not, if you are aware about that the duration is 1 year, 1.5, or 2 years, depending on those informations, you can select the best suitable time and the date here. Moving forward, we would be asking you what is your current GPA. Now, for every new international student who is applying for Empower loan for the first time and is also an international student for the first time, meaning he has coming from his home country and he has not started his education in the university yet. So we won't be asking you for your GPA. If you are an existing student already studying in that university, you need to fill this information, because we would like to understand how has been your academic performance as well. So after this, moving to the next step, we would be asking you, just give me a second. Yeah. All right. So once you have selected the eligibility and everything is fulfilling the requirement, then you would be seeing this screen, which will say that congratulations, X person, you are eligible. So now we would like to understand few more details about you, because we would like to know how you would like us to greet you or communicate with you. So we would like to understand how you would like to, what is your first name, your last name, that would be meeting with your ID requirement. So if your passport or the ID that you're providing has a different name, we would recommend you to use this name that is there in your passport or the ID you're providing. But in any rare circumstances, because we do have students who have a name change request later on. So whatever ID you are providing, equivalent to that ID, please mention your details here. Now, once these informations are being provided, then we would like to understand what is your immigration status. So are you already in US or not? Are you a DACA student? Are you a permanent resident, or you are an asylum seeker? So for the international student who is not any of the permanent asylum or DACA applicant, he can select non-citizen and continue with the application process. Then we would like to understand, have you already received your visa? So if you have received your visa, which is really good news, you can select yes and let us know the type of visa you already have. If you do not have the visa, you can simply select no and proceed further with the application. Now, once these steps are completed, next we would need to know about your program. So there are a lot of students who want to do a half-time program, or they are not going to go to the university for the entire duration of the program, or there can be a full-time program as well. So depending on the program requirements, you can select the best suitable option, that if you are a full-time student or you are a part-time student. Then we would be asking you, what like, are you going to attend the program in campus, online, or is it a hybrid? Hybrid, basically half of the program you are on campus and half you are online. So in this particular section, I would like to clarify a couple of doubts that many students have, that I would be studying my program initially online from my home country, and then I would be initiating with US or on-campus program. So definitely we would be happy if you are going ahead with an online program initially. But one of the most important requirement which I would like to clear out today is that before MPOWER can make any disbursements, we need to have your visa available, right? So unless you do not have your visa, we won't be able to disburse any funds towards your university and the school. So in any case, that if you are doing your first semester online, even if you are eligible, we would not be able to support you, because you might not have the US visa already available, because you would be planning it for the next semester or further semesters. But let's just say if you are already in US, you have a US visa available, but now your program is still online, but you are in the school country, then we can support you. But if you are in your home country and starting your program online, we won't be able to support you for the initial duration of your online course. But once you are in school, and let's just say even if you are still being in US or Canada, you are attending it online, we can still support you. Now, moving forward from this basic step, we'll go ahead and ask you about your year of your graduation, like which year you are in. If you are an undergrad, if you are a postgrad. So if you, whatever year is relevant to you, if you're a first year graduate, if you're a fourth year graduate, if it is your last year, or is it your first year of the program? Depending on the requirements and depending on where you currently stand, you can select the required informations and move to the next step. Once these informations are being filled, we would like to understand, have you given any kind of standardized test? Now, different universities have different requirements. Definitely, if you are coming from a non-English speaking country, you would need to go with certain language tests as well, right? So depending on your program requirement, if you are required to give any kind of standardized test or any language tests, you would need to provide us with the details of it. But it doesn't mean that if you have not given any exams, doesn't would you be able to still apply? Yes, there are many programs who do not require any kind of language or standardized test, or even if the university has waived your requirements for any standardized or language tests, you can just simply select the waived or haven't taken option. Now, moving forward from that, we would like to know and understand, what has been your employment history. Are you currently being employed? If you are not currently being employed, but you have been employed in past, or you have no employment history. Now, just remember, guys, it's just information for us to understand what kind of applicant you are and what experience you are bringing towards your program. So even if you do not have any employment history, it's absolutely fine. You would be able to submit your loan application. Moving forward from this tab, we'll have the most important part, which I will like to elaborate slightly more, is your financial information. Now, guys, one thing to understand here is that your financial information is one of the most crucial part of your application. And if there are errors in your financial informations, this can lead to slight delay in your application review. So while we are filling out these details, please be very cautious about what you are filling here, because this will lead to your applications being decisioned. So the first option here that is being asked to you is a simple and basic requirement, is that what would be your tuition cost? Now, as an international student, you need to be well prepared and aware about and foreseeing the financial requirements of your program and your stay in US or Canada well in advance, right? So we just want to understand that your total estimated cost for 1 year would be how much. So if you are aware about your program costing, you would be able to get it with your admission program counselor or the admission department. They can provide you with the program vouchers that will have the requirements of the tuition and the semester-wise tuitions requirement as well. So depending on the cost for 1 year, you would need to select and mention the detailed here. So let's just say if your program for 2 years is costing 50,000, that is just limited to your tuition, that the 1 year cost will come around 25,000. So you have to fill 25,000 here only. So we are just asking the costing for 1 year for now, and automatically we will be providing you with the total requirement of the costing, because if you remember, you have already provided us the anticipated graduation date well in advance while you started your application. Now, second part is that if you have, or if you think that this would be my cost of living and estimated cost of living, you can mention that. If you have any additional costs, which can be books and surplus, you can also mention those details. And if you have any health insurance or anything regarding that in your financial requirements, you can also provide us with those details. Now, once you have filled all your financial information, the next step will be this. So now we have automatically calculated what is going to be your total program cost, depending on the duration of the program you have provided us at the very beginning of the application. Now, let's just say in this particular example, your tuition cost is $60,000. And this particular applicant has also added funds equivalent to 42,000 US dollars. Now, what does funds means here is that for any student, if you are going for international education, you must be prepared apart from loan as well, right? So you must be having your living expenses, your personal requirements, and if you have anything to add on or to support towards your education, we would definitely request you to provide if you have any funding source being available. Now, it can be a scholarship being provided from the university, right? So if you are, one of an eligible applicant who has a scholarship given from the university, you can list that as a funding proof. If you have any kind of sponsor, or let's just say your company is sponsoring you towards this education, you can also use a sponsor here. And there are many students where the family is very supportive and they would like to help and support the applicant towards their education. So if you have any kind of funding that is coming from your friends, family, your father, your mother, and any person who's willing to support you, you can also list those fundings here. And in the last, if you have anything in your banking statement that the balance is available, you can also add those as your funding sources. Now, one thing to remember here is that whatever you are adding under the funding sources, we would definitely need the verified documents for it to verify and to go ahead with the next step. So in case if you do not have the documents available for the sources you are listing here, please prepare the documentations well in advance so that once you submit this application, you are able to provide us with those set of documents so that we can provide you a quicker decision, right? Now, moving forward, if you see here, there is a funding gap listed. So do not get confused that what is this funding gap means. This basically is giving you an estimate calculation depending on what is the total requirement, then whatever you have already being available, and the balance would be the funding gap. So here you see requested loan amount. So you can mention whatever X amount you would like to request for your loan application. Remember, MPOWER supports maximum of 50,000 USD for one single semester. And for one academic year, we support almost $100,000. So if you are applying for only one semester, then you can request a maximum 50,000. But if you are requesting for an entire academic year, then you can request up to $100,000. Now, once these requirements are being fulfilled, we'll move to the next step, which would be one of the last step of your application, which would be uploading a valid ID. Now, in case if you are an international student, we would definitely urge you to provide us with your passport which is valid and active. If your passport or ID has been expired, we would request you to provide us a valid ID that has not yet been expired. And if you have any other documents like driving license, state government, or a national ID, you can also provide us those details. Once those informations are being provided, voila, your application is being now submitted, and a dedicated relationship manager would be getting back to you if there are further requirements or documentations that we require to go ahead with your application. That's all from my side in application journey. Back to you, Silva. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you very much for taking us through this whole journey. And so now let's start our free Q&A session. And I see that we've already have many students already submitted your questions. Again, throughout this whole webinar, please use the Q&A function located at the bottom of your Zoom window to ask your questions. We will answer some of your questions live. We will also have a team of staff at MPOWER to answer your questions in the chat. So first question I want to ask Ron. What does our loan cover in Canada and US in terms like tuition, living expense, and stuff?
Sure. So this answer is going to get a little bit complicated because it's different for both countries, and for Canada, it's a little more complicated than that. So, but let me take the first one, which is the US. If you're going to start in the US, the MPOWER loan can cover kind of anything in the US once you're there. One thing that we cannot cover is the airfare that you need to travel from your home country to the US because we disperse the funds directly to the school. But once you're in the US, your loan can cover tuition, living expenses, anything for books, supplies, anything else that you need, you can kind of cover with your MPOWER loan. That is for the US. For Canada, it's a little bit different. For Canada, some schools we cover everything. That's depending on based on the schools. Some schools, for example, I think York University, Schulich School of Business, they accept everything. So for those schools, we can fund tuition and living expenses, pretty much everything. Some schools in Canada, we cannot fund living expenses, and it'll depend on the school. So when you select whichever school that you're going to, in that when you're going through the application process in that particular school, you'll get to know if we can fund both living expenses and tuition, or is it only going to be tuition for that school?
Thank you, Ron. So, Veer, I want to ask you this question. So if customer makes some mistakes in the application and they want to change it, and what can they do?
Absolutely. So if you have made any error in your application and now you are not able to make any edits in your application once being submitted, please do not get worried because we have a dedicated customer relation department who is ever ready to support all your requirements. So you can drop us an email at empower.me@empowerfinancing.com. I will repeat it. It is empower.me@empowerfinancing.com. So you can drop your concerns on the given email address, or you can reach out us directly on the helpline numbers that are available on our website. And once you have provided us with the correct informations, your relationship manager will go ahead and make the amendments in your applications.
Thank you. So what are the most common mistakes that you have seen customers are making in their application? Maybe, we can help them to avoid them.
Sure. So thank you for sharing that, raising that, Silver, because I believe there are a lot of applications which are being submitted, with not providing us with the correct email address. So what we would say here is that, let's just say, sorry, your home country address. So if you have provided us with your address details, we would definitely be cross-checking with you by checking your documents that you have provided, right? And we have identified that most of the times there is a slight mismatch in the documents or the address mentioned in the application. So while submitting your application, if you have a relevant document available, which is on your name, confirming your home country address, please provide the exact details in your applications while filling your address informations. And let's just say in any circumstances, you do not have any documentations in your name, then what you need to do, because you are still staying in your home country. It can be a parental home or it can be some friends and family you are staying with. So if you are do not have any documentations on your name, but you are staying in an apartment who is your friend or father or family, you can also provide us their documents supporting the address that you have mentioned on the application. What we would also ask apart from this is their valid ID and a relationship declaration form that would be available on your dashboard. You can also ask that from your relationship manager, asking about, because we would need these details to verify whether that person is there or not, whether the address is correct or not. So one of the most errors we have seen is the address details, and the second errors, as I stated, is the financial information, because most of the student end up mentioning, the costing part of the entire program in the file, and it becomes when we calculate it comes out to be very high. So for example, if we are asking you for one academic year cost and you are stating 2 years academic cost, when the system will calculate, it will be calculated for the entire duration at the start of the year. So that makes your applications look like that if you actually require 50,000, but because you stated 50,000 for 1 year, we calculated it 100,000, right? So that kind of error, just cause slight more delay in your application, and that's what we are trying to eliminate here. So if you're filling all the informations, please see the documents first that are available for supporting that, and then fill it.
Thank you. I want to hold you a little bit longer, Sir Javier. One more question for you. So what if the students that they've already put a loan amount that they want to request in the application and they want to change it, after it's already conditionally approved? What can they do?
So thanks again for sharing that, Silver. So yes, we have received a lot of queries regarding the requested loan amount change. Now, in case if your application is not yet approved, but we are just in decisioning of it, or we are reviewing your application, and all of a sudden if you come up with any requirement, like for example you requested 40,000, now you need 50,000, or now you want a lesser amount because you have received any other financial support from your friends and family and you might not need the similar loan amount now, so you can always request a reduction requirement or an increase requirement before your application is being approved. Now, what happens if it is being approved? Let's just say your application has now been successfully approved for $40,000, and you came up to us and you have also accepted the offer. What we can do? So Empower can definitely help you with any reduction request of your loan if you are coming after accepting the loan offer, but any kind of increased request unfortunately cannot be entertained. So if you are planning to increase your loan amount now from what you have already been approved for, you need to submit a different loan application. But if you are requesting for a reduction than the approved amount, let's just say you have been approved for 50, now you only need 30,000. So you can always come up with a reduction request at any stage, and we'll try to support you at best possible. Just one advice: if your application has already been approved and your loan is now being certified, you have received your final loan documents, and after you have e-signed your final loan documents, now you have come to a position where you need to reduce your loan amount. It can be X number of reasons. We can still help you with the reduction of your disbursement amount, but you need to be at least 10 days prior intimating us regarding that changes, because we follow a roster, we try to provide the funds on time, and there are certain times where the applicant is just coming 2 or 3 days prior to make that request, and unfortunately we are not able to control those requirements or assist those last moment changes. So if you have any request of deduction post your e-sign and your disbursement is in progress, please come at least 10 days to 15 days prior than your projection date. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Javier. Very detailed answer. Thank you very much. So Ron, this is a question for you. So in the application, we ask students to provide that, like if they have other funding options besides MPOWER. So a customer asks, if you don't have funding options from the relatives or friends, will the loan application be rejected?
So yeah, that's not always the case. If you don't have any funding from friends or family, it really depends on each individual application. There's no blanket rule that I can tell you. I can tell you for a fact, we have approved loans where applicants have zero funding at all, as long as we are able to cover the entire cost of the program, those will still get approved. So it doesn't matter how much funding you have. It really depends on each particular application that you submit, which school you're going to. There are a lot of other factors that come into play there. So even if you don't have any funding from any family or friend sources, please just mention that you don't have any funding, and there's a high possibility you shall get approved for a loan.
All right, thank you. Um, Another student is worrying that what if they do not have a credit score in their home country, or if their credit score in their home country is very bad.
So this one is a little bit different. So if the person does not have a credit score in the home country, that doesn't play any effect on their loan application. They can still get an Empower loan. There's no difference there. But if in their home country the credit score is very bad, that actually means they actually have some delinquencies or defaults on some particular loans. That is usually the root cause of a low credit score. In those cases, it's possible that your application may get declined just because of your credit score. But if you don't have a credit score, there's no negative impact to your application.
All right, thank you. And there's another student asking about our school certification process. So how does it works? Who do you want to answer?
I'll take that question.
All right.
In terms of certification, so definitely once your application is approved, only then the certification takes place in happening in your application journey. So let's just say you have recently accepted your approval letter, and now your application, you can also see those changes on your Empower dashboard once you are there, that at what stage your application is in, and we would be able to notify you that your loan has been sent for certification. Now, that doesn't mean that we have released the disbursement amount. It basically tells you that once you have accepted the offer, now we have sent your loan details to your respective university financial aid office for them to certify and let us know what would be the actual amount that they would be considering and what would be the disbursement dates that they would like these amounts to be received. So the certification process is slightly different for both countries. In Canada, we do not have too many certifications, like 90% is non-certification, but there are a couple of universities where we do have to provide the certification and go through with that process. But in US, it's all certification. So whatever loan amount you have been approved. And now this is a very important topic because this can help all the students with many other queries related to the certification and loan amount change. Now, let's just say you are being approved for $50,000 for spring 2024. We have shared your details to your university financial aid office, and now your financial aid office has certified your loan, but not 50,000. They have certified only 30,000, as that was the amount that is required for that semester. Now, most of the US schools cover all your tuition requirements, plus if there are any dedicated personal living expenses requirement or not. But in case if you are not happy with the amount that has been certified by your financial aid office, I would request all the students to reach out to your financial aid office directly and ask them if they can recertify your loan with any amount or preferred amount as per your requirement. Because the only difference happens is the living expenses part in the certification, because a student can expect that, okay, I am being approved for 50,000, my tuition is 20,000, I must be getting 30,000 for my living expenses, but it may not be the same as per the university perspective, right? Because your financial aid office will be certifying only the amount that is required for the semester the loan has been gone for certification, and they might add a bit of your living expenses while certifying a loan. But if you have a higher expectations, you should reach out your financial aid office while your loan is getting certified and clear your requirements with them so that they certify it accordingly to the requirements of yours. But again, it might not happen 100% actually that what you needed, because every university has their own set parameters. So if you are requesting something which is very unrealistic for them, and they might not be able to help you with that request also. So you have to make sure that what you are requesting is balancing out your financial requirement for that particular semester the certification request has gone for. Now, once the certification request has gone, now I'll like to slightly go back and answer it on one more angle here, is that once your approval is being accepted, we send the certification request 60 days prior to the term you have been approved for. So if you have been approved for fall 2024, And right now we are in spring 2024. We might not exactly send the certification request just now. It might take 1 more month or 1.5 months. Once you come within the 6 months timeline, we would be fast forwarding your certification request, because at this time your university might not certify for a very long or later duration. They would be clearing out their spring certification first. So similar to that, we would be sending the certification request as per the term you have been approved for, and then we would be requesting you also to reach out your financial aid office to understand what are the actual amount that is going to certify. And for the turnaround time, it usually takes, if you are in spring 24 right now and we send the certification request today to your university, it usually takes 4 to 5 days, or sometimes 2 to 3 weeks as well, depending on the bandwidth your financial aid office has. So as soon as the certification is being completed, we'll review the details, then we will be providing you with the final loan documents, which will be providing you with the disbursement details and your repayment calculations as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Javier. So Ron, a question for you. Can students pay off their loan faster than 10 years, and how will it affect their interest?
Yeah. So short answer is yes, students can pay off the loan even in 1 or 2 days. It's not an issue for us. And the way the interest actually calculates is if you're paying it off after, as soon as you graduate, say you get a big signing bonus and you're able to pay off your entire loan, there is no additional interest that you have to pay, and there's no prepayment penalties or anything of that sort. So I want to actually take you guys through an example for this, and I'll just talk you through the numbers. So say you're taking out say a $50,000 student loan from us, and the interest rate currently is 12%. Uh, so say you took the loan for 2 years, so $50,000. So at the end of 2 years when you graduate, you still owe us $50,000, is considering you made all your in-school interest payments. And say as soon as you guys graduate, you guys find a job that pays you a $60,000 signing bonus. Uh, you can pay off your entire Empower loan of 50,000, and there is no prepayment penalties. There's no additional interest that is charged. All you're going to be paying us is the $50,000, and that closes your loan. That basically closes the loan balance with us.
And what is a loan repayment schedule looks like?
So the loan repayment schedule is something that you'll see on your final loan document. So you'll get it twice, one on the approval till and one on the final loan packet that you get from us. And the schedule is basically, it takes into the fact that you're not making any of these lump sum payments or anything of that sort. This is the schedule that we come up with for you to pay a fixed payment every month. And it'll have like the exact details of what you're supposed to pay every month. Uh, the current way the current way it's kind of set up is when you're in school, you'd be paying only the interest only component of the loan. So I'll use the same example numbers that I was using. The $50,000 loan, the actual repayment amount would be around, I think, $400 when you're in interest only while you're in school. So every month you'll have to pay around $400 to just maintain your interest at zero. And at the end of the school, when you graduate, at that point, your loan amount will kind of go up to around $550, and you'll be paying $550 for 9 years and 11 months. And the last payment is usually a little bit smaller or higher depending on the interest for that month. And the last payment is usually say around 925, and it can go up to sorry, not 900, 525 to $575. And all these details will be given on the final loan documents that you sign. It's basically what's the amount that you have to pay Empowered every month for the next 10 years. It's very, very clearly shown to you on that document.
Okay, one more question for you, Ron. So for the students that apply for the loan to cover both of their tuition and living expenses, and if we disperse the living expenses part directly to the school, and how do students get the fund?
Right. So as soon as we disperse the funds, the school first takes out the tuition cost. And same example, say we disperse 50,000 to your school, your tuition fee is say around 35,000. That leaves you a balance of $15,000, which you can use for your living expenses. The school will ask you, do you have a US bank account? If they say yes, they usually give you a check, or they'll directly transfer it to your student bank account. And after that, you can just use the funds as you want to use.
Awesome. So Revere, you just mentioned that students usually make mistakes when uploading their proof of home country address. So there's students asking that what documents are accepted as a proof of address?
Fantastic. So one of the easiest document that we accept as a proof of home country address is if your admission letter that from the university that you are enrolling in or from for which you have applied for the loan has provided you an admission letter that has your home country address mentioned in it. So we have seen a lot of students just upload their admission letter that does not have any address proof on that. So we can't consider that. But if your admission letter has an home country address proof available or details there, we can consider that. That is one of the easiest form of document that an applicant can provide. Now, in any circumstances, let's just say your university has not provided you with the admission letter with address details. Now, in that case, you can provide us with your utility bills. So if you have any kind of utility bill that shows us that it is on your name and that is from the address you are currently listed on. So it can be a gas bill, it can be a water bill, it can be an electricity bill. So any kind of these bills you can help us, and these should be within 90 days, dated within 90 days. Let's just say if you have a bank statement and that bank statement has the address proof mentioned in that of your home country, we can also consider that as a valid proof. But then your bank statement should also be within 90 days. So whatever documents we are talking here about should be within 90 days apart from your admission letter. So even if your admission letter is a year old, but it is from the same university, we can accept it. But the rest, all other documents needs to be within 90 days. Now, as I said, if you are not having any documents on your name, you can use your parents' documents as a proof of address, but we would also need their valid ID and a relationship declaration form from them.
Thank you, Sravir. As we approach the final moments of this webinar, I'm not going to take more questions to answer live. And if you have more questions to us, please feel free to reach out to our customer support team. You can email us or you can call us. And you can find our contact information on the Contact Us page on our site. And last but not least, I want to use 1 minute to show you the 3 fantastic programs we offer to our students. Please share screens. Thank you. So here are the 3 programs we offered you besides of our loan program. And the first one is Refer a Friend program. If you refer a friend to MPOWER, for every successful referral, you will get $300 and your friend will get $100. So how to refer a friend? First, you need to visit our Refer a Friend page on our site to create your unique referral link or code. Second, you need to have your friend using your link or code to submit an application with MPOWER. When your friend accepts our loan term and submit their visa documents, you will receive $300 in reward. And once your friend's loan is funded, they will also get $100 in reward. You do not need to be an MPOWER loan customer to refer friends, and there is no limit on how many referrals you can make. And the second program is my favorite, is a merit-based scholarship program. We offer scholarships with awards of up to $10,000 per person. In addition, each month we also host a contest of essays where you can win a share of $3,000 in scholarship awards. You also do not need to be an MPOWER loan customer to apply. To get to know the detailed criteria and deadlines for each scholarship, please check the scholarships page. And the third program we offer is the Path to Success program. We offer this to all of our loan customers for free. Once your loan is funded, you will receive a welcome email to enroll in this program. This program is to help you in job search, immigration resources, and also financial management. We want to make your journey successful because only if you are successful, we are successful. All right. Surveyor and Ron, would you like to share some last minute advice for our attendees? What do you like most about MPOWER, and any final tips for our aspiring international students? I will start with Ron.
Sure. So, why I really like MPOWER? I think MPOWER is the best because all of us are kind of working towards one goal, which is making life's journey, which is making the journey easier for international students who want to come to different countries and study. And the reason I really connected to this is because I was an international student and I've been through the entire process. And now I want to make that process much more accessible and easier for a lot of students to kind of get through to different countries and get those experiences that they want to. And one small tip that I'm going to give everyone, as soon as you come to whichever country you're going to, please get a local ID. It's not good to carry your passport everywhere. So as soon as you land, please just get like a local state ID or something. And that means you don't have to carry your passport in most places. So yeah, that's going to be my tip. Thank you, Silvan.
Thank you. Surveyor, what's your tips and why do you like the most about MPOWER?
I think Ron has covered here the most of it, but MPOWER has been the one thing I like most about MPOWER is the uniqueness about how we are supporting the educational dreams of people. Uh, you can find a lot of lenders outside the world, but if you see us, how we drive success, how we take matters in hands of each and every application, and how we treat our applicants, these are something which I really personally like the most because also at the same time, I know that there can be slight delays in terms of communication from our end to our applicants, but I would always urge all my applicants and attendees today that, let us just give us 4 to 5 working days. If any case we are not able to reach you out, or you can just send us an email at empower.me at Empower Financing for knowing any update. And we will definitely try to reach you within the 2 days timeline. One advice that I would like to give to all the applicants would be is that once you are planning for international studies, also, try to see who is already there in US and try to collab with them, because the more you will be collaborating with other international students, you will see more opportunities there, right? So most of the applicants, reach out to us stating that in school payments or the repayments, we are facing some difficulties there, or how we would be able to manage it. So I can bet that once you open that window of communication with other international students, the opportunities are enormous, and you would be very happy once you start collaborating with other international students while you are studying in the school. So that would be my advice for all the international students. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining me today for this application walkthrough with MPOWER. And for those attending, you will get an email pretty soon with a recording of this webinar. You will also receive a survey, which is really important to us at MPOWER. We read every response to make these sessions better. Once again, thank you, Ron and Surveyor, and also thank you all for attending this webinar. And it was great to spend this 1 hour with all of you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.